All right, we're recording. Hi, guys. Welcome. So, you guys have the honor of seeing one of my really great friends again. This is Terry Sacka. He is the owner, creator, he runs the thing of Cornerstone Asset Metals. I've been using him and his crew since 2014 or 15. He is who I get all of my silver from, and we become really great friends. Thank you, Jesus. And he has a brilliant financial mind. And I always like hearing from him about economic issues. And I always joke when I'm talking to him, like, I've got the supernatural spiritual side, and he
Yes.
perfectly puzzle pieces in the financial part to it. So, Terry, welcome.
Thank you, Lauren. And I just love that part, like you just said, because it amazes me what I see behind the scenes, technically and mechanically. And then you talk spiritually about what's happening. It is just wonderful. I just tells me God's, just working in our lives for both of us as a team to really get people awake and aware of what's coming. And for a lot of people that may not know, not that it matters to me, but just know that I'm not just giving opinions. I did operate with 5 financial licenses, and I was a financial advisor. So I do really get that realm. But I am in tangible assets now because I know, that's God's, especially gold and silver. And there are other things that we can be doing in the kingdom, but it's important to know what's going on behind the scenes. And it jives real well with God, what God is telling you and others in the spirit. And I think we can use that information to better the kingdom and ourselves and our families.
Yeah, that's why I'm so excited to have you on. And so I wrote down some things, Terry, if this is okay with you, I got with the Lord because I always want to use your time wisely. And I wanted to have the Lord's input on what it is that I could ask you that would help everybody watching, like the platform, on what they need to do financially. And so I wanted to ask you some questions. And the very first one I'll just start off with is what is what do you see post election now with Trump
Mm.
on the economy, and how it's looking right now globally, what Trump is trying to do? And then if you will tell us a little bit about the stable coin versus the USDCs
Mm.
and the Ripple thing, like all of that tied together, what they're trying to do. Because I know Trump said he banned the CBDCs, but what about the stable coin thing?
Right. Oh, absolutely. And I think that'll be good because the stablecoin definitely has a very unique place in what we're doing. And the key bottom line was central bank digital currencies was to be ran by a central authority. It's basically communist, totalitarian, authoritarian, where they would literally behavioral control by the central government tell you what you can and cannot do with money. Now that's bad. That's what they were trying to do the last administration. Trump made it very clear, no, stablecoin is a corporate government venture for a digital dollar that we're going into. And I'll get into that after I explain what's going on in the world, because I think it's amazing. Trump's mind, he's smart. He gets it. If whoever gets a hold of this first, this stable coin, this technology running the crypto digital realm, it's all part of the Great Reset. Many are not aware of that, and that's very important. But whoever wins first is going to control the world, and Trump is very, very aware of that, and that's why the Chinese are trying so hard to dominate it. But they're already full-blown communists, so they kind of have a disadvantage because who really wants to trust that information? But regarding the world, now this is not doomsday. People understand, please get your discernment hat on for this, because this is just information behind the scenes. This is what they're not telling you. Inflation is not getting better. It's actually getting worse. We're going to see it going through the summer. You're going to see increased food inflation. We could potentially even go hyper by summer. But the problem is we're in a credit bubble of epic proportion. I'm talking a credit bubble we've never seen in all through history of any nation, largest in history. Our dollar is not what you think it is. And gold, it's not that gold is going up. Even today, gold and silver are running pretty good. It's not that they're going up, it's the dollar is going down. We're in what we call just a viral debt trap. And Trump, in trying to address this, wants to lower interest rates, but they really need to be raising interest rates to control the inflation that's coming, but they won't do that. And so it's going to be a catch-22. We will continue to see inflation until policies can be enacted to fight that. And remember, the great taking is still very real. These are laws in the bankruptcy system. They're into the U.S. Commercial Code 5 and 6 explain explicitly stocks, bonds, cash in the bank does not belong to you. It is actual collateral to the debt to the financial system. So if Trump doesn't get his policies enacted in time, if they collapsed the global economy on them, the great taking is still very much in front of what I would call the global elite plan. Now, we may have knocked out the World Economic Forum and the WHO back on their heels, but I'm not going to give them all the credit. They're going away. And the great taking is still in front of us because that is the law and those are the rules. So we have to fight inflation. That's Trump's main mandate. He gets it. He wants to do it through energy, which he's right. Any nation that has energy independence is a great nation. And of course, the other administration and those on the left wanted to strip us of that because they were taking us to this world order of total control. We were in a slave state if they got their way. But the energy industry was totally sabotaged by the last administration. And lowering energy is needed to stop the growing food inflation. Trump knows this. And by executing it, it's going to be a lot harder than he believes, but it's going to take time. That's the whole point. We can't just do it overnight in 2 weeks and have it change. Once we get energy, we cut these energy costs in half. Hopefully, corporations, farmers, ranchers, instead of keeping the profit, will lower prices. And I think that could come through competition. But in the meantime, they're going to have to print trillions upon trillions of dollars. And here's the thing with Trump and his policy. Many may not be aware of this. He is actually a weak dollar president. He wants a weak dollar because that makes our goods and services attractive around the world. As the dollar dominates, our goods are not very cheap, and so they're not buying them. So Trump's goal, if he can, will be to bring the dollar value down and allow our goods and services to be exported. And then, of course, bring manufacturing back to the United States. This is why gold and silver is so important. And he also wants to pressure to lower interest rates. The problem is he's not in charge of that. Although I think they want to deep down do it because this will cause the potential economic collapse they want to usher in the Great Reset, which we'll get into that's tied to the digital money. But the controls on getting this done with interest rates and lowering the dollar will be unbelievably bullish for gold and silver. Why people hanging on to annuities, 401ks, IRAs, it's not too late. Just because we're at the prices we are now in gold and silver, believe me, where you see where they're going in the future, you'll be happy. You're protecting your assets outside of the paper world with physical, tangible assets as they grow. I contend silver probably outperforms the stock market 12 to 18 months significantly because of what's happening. But it's not too late to get involved. And I think many are complacent, but they need to understand that the bond market is in complete chaos. We have printed so many treasuries and debts, and it's not that we're printing them, it's that nobody's buying them. Mm-hmm. So who's buying our treasuries? Nobody. And that 10-year treasury is rising. The yield is rising. It could go to double-digit turf. If it goes up higher than 5%, the banks are in deep, deep trouble. And we have already in the United States a lot of people, so many. I'm thinking upwards, I think they said 60% don't even have $1,000 for an emergency, and they're living off of credit cards, which is not a good situation. I do have hope that we can turn this around, but for the next 2 years or so, as we kind of go through this fire, it's going to become very difficult. And many Christians, I don't get it, but they're just not preparing.
Well,
they're just
like you
they're
said,
in complete denial. It's why are they in denial? It's like a normalcy bias or something, right?
So much denial. And I get asked all the time. And of course, I always have to say, I'm not a financial advisor. You are, I'm not. But they always ask me, I've got this fat 401k. I'm getting nervous. What should I do? And I'm always like, should I cash it out and buy cryptos? I'm like, no, I would roll it over into silver and hedge
Yeah.
it. New
Yeah.
money buy cryptos, new powder, like extra cash on the side, get into that new market. But you're right, like the 401k thing. My goodness, you're a sitting duck.
Oh, you're a sitting duck because there is going to be a correction in the market. I mean, number one, just for cleansing purposes, it could do 20, 30%. If it comes on the heels of anything else, it could be 40, 50%. But in the meantime, if you look at the probability of the market going up 15% over the next 2 years or even year versus silver going up probably 90%, you're going to see silver far outpace the actual stock market. So I would be going into, because it's in the IRA, into tangible assets like silver, gold. Park it there right now, get out of the paper system, wait for this forest fire to be over, and then go back in and reallocate. Heck, even by then, they'll probably have an XRP ETF that you can actually get in the stock market, which I would highly recommend people doing. But the bond market is a big deal, and the Christians have got to wake up and understand God has us covered, but he's also sending us a boat, a helicopter, an airplane when we're stranded out in the ocean. We have to take this knowledge and wisdom and do something with it. I do believe in the long run, we can be okay. This will work if Trump implements the right policy. But right now, we have to go through a fire, and I'm talking a big fire, because even the banking system, they're in serious trouble. The bond holdings right now, all the banks are forced to buy US treasuries. Many are not aware of this, but nobody's buying our debt. So the government is forcing the banks to buy the debt. If the 10-year treasury goes over 5%, along with the 600 billion in commercial real estate that has to be refinanced at higher rates, it's just going to implode and potentially crash hundreds of banks. And this is real, serious, and actually on the data, on the books now. But what's interesting about the banking system, they know it's coming, Lauren. They're preparing, they're setting and building protocols for the new digital monetary system. And this is all part of the Great Reset. We'll get into a little bit on that a little later, but they're building it. So if the banks are building these protocols for blockchain tokenization digital money, they're doing it to get ready for what they know is coming. And that is important. So that being said, this whole thing, just understand, was a setup. It's not like Trump comes in with a magic wand and everything is fine. This has been set up to collapse.
Oh, yeah.
It was supposed to go in total collapse mode once Harris took over. They were going to go full-blown CBDC, full-blown communist kind of control of our behavior, and they failed there, which is good. But this is a setup, and we are going to, and I do believe Trump's main mission is to usher in the Great Reset, help us take control of crypto for the world, why he wants us to be the crypto capital of the world. Many Christians are in this mindset of the QFS. They're like, oh, it's going to be a quantitative financial system, and we have Nasara Gasara, and they're going to eliminate all our debts and pay all this off. And I'm like, you may want to hold off a little bit on that, because the QFS is not exactly what people think it is. It's going to be a digital crypto blockchain tokenization world, yes. I'm not so certain about the Nasara Gasara stuff, though. There's nothing behind the scenes that speaks of that in any fashion, but it is going into it. And how we know, Larry Fink of BlackRock just came out last week and even said, we will go full crypto and tokenization to save the country. Whoever is first wins, and he wants to tokenize every stock and every bond. We're talking tens of trillions of dollars that will go into the crypto realm, things like XRP, XLM, HBAR, and such. These altcoin utility cryptos will be epic wealth transfer. It's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the basic. I don't even buy it was Satoshi that set up Bitcoin. I think if people knew who set up Bitcoin, they'd probably really freak out. It's like a digital gold, but it was just merely to get the system ready for what they're going to institute now. And then Trump wants to walk into tariffs. And the tariffs are very real. He even said the other day he hopes Congress eliminates the income tax. Tariffs were how we would actually make money. That's the Constitution. That's what we're supposed to be doing, tariffs. And so these tariffs are very real. It's how we'll generate tremendous wealth. But more importantly, the mainstream is spinning it. Oh, it's going to be this and that and bad for the people. No, tariffs force these corporations to bring the manufacturing back to the United States, build plants here in the Midwest and in our country, putting people to work at high salary jobs. That's what tariffs are supposed to do. That rebuilds American manufacturing. But in walks the dilemma. You have China tariffs and then the Great Reset concept. So China, and this is where it really is amazing, and this is right out. Like if you go to the Eastern papers, the Chinese, they're saying it. The West is just not reporting it. The Chinese are actually encouraging their citizens to buy gold. They're giving it almost near spot price, and they're saying, turn in your currency, go to the bank, and we'll give you gold. Now, many people are thinking, well, doesn't that hurt their currency? Yes, but they're playing a game. They're playing chess. They know the Western exchanges are manipulating the valuations of gold as real money because gold is the only real money. Everything else is credit. And as we're in this epic credit bubble, they get that. So they're getting their people to buy gold. And if the Western exchanges in London and Chicago do not revalue gold and silver to real price discovery, the Chinese are going to come in and just buy it all up. I just got a report this morning sent to me showing how an extraordinary amount of physical delivery demands on gold. And I'm like, I bet that's the Chinese using sovereign funds and investment banks. They're taking it away. So what will happen is an arbitrage. The Chinese will continue to let gold prices rise. Their citizens are going to be wealthy with it. They would rather them do that because they know it's real money. They know the currencies around the world are going to burn. Fascinating, in the 1984 Economist magazine, I wish I had it on me. Did you ever show that? Did I show that to you one time? I may have. This might be it.
Is
This
that the
Economist
Phoenix?
magazine. Yes, the Phoenix. And he's standing on the world currencies burning. And then he has a gold digital medallion around his neck. And then they said kind of a new order of things on it. And I have it somewhere here, but
I'll put it in
that,
the video. I'll splice it in.
yeah, that is unbelievable. Now, that was supposed to be done in 2018. That was on the medallion on his neck. They're a little behind, but I contend that's probably because the technology didn't quite get caught up. But the technology's there. Now we have the supercomputers. We have the ability. AI is enormous. And so the Chinese are smart. If they don't, the Western entities anyway, don't allow gold to rise to the real values. And I can see gold at 5,000 without a doubt, and silver at three figures. If they don't do it, it creates arbitrage. So then they can go and buy the gold in the West, turn around, sell it in the East, and make a big profit. So the West will be forced to stop manipulating the price through derivatives. It's unbelievable. They're so smart about it. And a little twist to that is silver. Nobody wants silver to go up because it's technology. And there's like 30 kilograms. And that's a lot. So nobody wants silver to go up. But you can see the makings happen in the West as China is controlling the gold market. I believe the West is going to let silver run to harm China and their industrial base because their cost will go up. And I know it is because the Samsung CEO even came out in a speech and said, when silver is $200 an ounce,
Yeah.
here is what it does to the cost of our goods and silver, our products. So I know silver, because of the setup that's in front of us, because of this epic debt bubble credit trap we're in, silver will absolutely be outperforming the S&P for the near future, at least 12 to 18 months. And they're all putting all this together as we get into this crypto portion. You heard them say Stargate. They did that 500 billion investment into what they called Stargate. This will be AI data centers all around the United States. And
Yeah.
they build it as, oh, it's great for medical. We can solve cancer. And I'm like, oh, that's a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Those AI data centers are there to book you on the system. We'll be like China. Larry Ellis is out there. We'll have cameras everywhere. I'm like, yeah, that's
Nice.
great. George Orwell, 1984, just come walking right through the door, right? And so
All we need is more cameras.
so something isn't right. And I think it gets into then where you were going to, I think, with the cryptos, but something isn't right because that
Well,
AI will accelerate the whole digital platform,
yeah.
allow them to tokenize, fractionalize, and put every asset on a blockchain.
Yeah.
But it also, so I put it this way as kind of like a positive thing. To save America, there will be hundreds of trillions potential in wealth to be created through blockchain and the crypto control. But the consequence, we're going to lose freedoms because everything will be time stamped and we will have potential behavioral control if the wrong people get in there because the infrastructure is set up. So it's kind of a catch 22, but we
This is
have
kind of
to.
I agree with you. This is how I see it in the spirit. You're saying it all right. I hear you saying, regardless of post Trump, we knew this was coming. We voted him in. We even talked about this back in, I think, in October or whatever, that this is what the country needed because he's the only sitting president that can problem solve our way out of the train that's already left the station, that's headed for a crash. And it don't
Mhm.
matter if he or someone else was in there, the crash is hitting us.
Yes.
And I believe he is doing his best, like you said, to maybe steer us in a way to soften the blow or to do something economic to get us ahead of tech, to get us ahead of AI, to get us the crypto capital of the world, to bring in Canada, Mexico with America, to try to fix with energy, trying to fix what already is about to dump on his head, which I'm pretty sure he knows any time it's going to. And so you're right. We are going to have this in the spirit. This is how I see it. We're having this transition of how the plumbing, right, of how we move money is
It's a
changing.
great way to put it. Yeah.
But at the same time, it is headed towards what the Bible said, the beast system. So we have a dark side to this, but an opportunity to build systems, like you said, with hedging your 401ks in the silver part,
Hmm.
on ramping on cryptocurrencies as a way to accrue capital, maybe to buy more silver and hedge, right? Because of what's ahead of us, like you were just saying, the police state, more cameras, AI knowing about everything, every transaction, everything that you're doing. So yeah.
And the plumbing part's very interesting. I love the way you put that because that's exactly right. He has had 4 years to watch this. He
Yeah.
knows what he's walking into. That's why he is so aggressive with executive order, why he's demanding we go to crypto capital. Once regulations pass come this spring, even Bank of America CEO came out and said, once regulations are passed, we will accept crypto at the bank. So they're going for it. They know. And I believe you said it just right. Trump is aware and he is setting up for us to benefit from this transition. Yes, we will have some loss of freedom, but the wealth potential for each and every one of us, not just preserving our wealth with the physical tangible, and you need it because silver and gold are vital to have outside the system because you don't want all your wealth in the digital realm. We get some kind of a supernatural who knows what shutting down the internet. We know your wealth is gone. So you definitely want certain amounts of it out for sure. But the potential for the crypto growth is just unbelievable.
Well, what do you think his agenda is? Honey, you can let her out to go get it. Oh, okay, that's fine. What is your idea or your opinion about this Greenland thing and the Panama Canal thing and Canada becoming one of the states? Do you believe, like I kind of do, that that is a part of what Trump is thinking economically? Or is it about resources, which I guess would be economic? I mean, what do you think about that?
Actually, it's both. I think that he's brilliant, and the Panama Canal actually in the treaty said that it had to remain neutral. The problem is the Chinese have predominantly taken over the canal, And Trump knows clearly we're getting ready to go head to head with China. And the Chinese, that is the ultimate artery of not just military travel, but industrial cargo travel through the Panama Canal. We built it. We turned it over to him. And he knows the Chinese, if we go head to head with the Chinese one day here, not just on the Great Reset, the currency wars that are in front of us, but the whole idea with Taiwan and everything else, we cannot let China control the Panama Canal. So he is 100% legally correct on doing that. You have a lot of socialist governments down in South America, so obviously they're not on board, but they don't really have a choice. He'll tariff them right off the planet, and they know it. And so that's very interesting. And Greenland, very similar. Not only is Greenland a military, absolute epic military spot for the United States to put bases, but the
Ah,
natural resources there, the natural resources and minerals in Greenland, unbelievable. And
so
so if
that's
we
why
can
he
get
wants
in
it
there,
worse than I thought. Yeah.
yes, it's about natural resources. That's why the whole war with Russia, trying to take Russia down, they have 77 trillion in natural resources. It was about breaking them up into four different groups and then put the corporate oligarchs in there to take over the natural resource. Greenland, very similar, but it's also epically strategic militarily to oversee Russia. So those are very real, and he's right on the money. It's going to be difficult to do, but if he were to pull that off, it would absolutely make America stronger, greater, and better. And I see where you're going with the Mexican Canadian angle. Be difficult to do, but the incentive is there for them. And I know there's a couple of really brilliant, successful businessmen, Canadians, who have made it clear that America coming into Canada like that and joining up like that would be an unbelievable financial boom for Canada. But you
Yeah.
have, these left wing socialist, deep control politicians in Canada, they're not going to want to give that up. So we just have to pray Palaveri takes over and he's like a Trump in Canada as far as the thinking. And we could see a potential merger in the currencies as we go into the RLUSD and the stable coin,
Oh,
where
that's a good
Mexico,
point.
Canada, and the United States kind of merge into a single
I
entity.
didn't connect that. That's good, Terry, with the whole Ripple thing and the digital, the stable coin thing.
Yeah, stablecoin is everything. I mean, stablecoin is still, like a CBDC where, who's kidding who? Corporations have done everything to help the government spy on Americans, right? Look at the censorship that they were doing under the last administration. So it's not that we can actually trust the corporations, but if we had to have pick one, you just pick the least of two evils, a stablecoin by far, because Trump made it clear he wants to give Americans a choice of currency.
Hey, it's such a blessing to have you guys, and I hope you enjoy our format. We just really just let the camera roll, error and all. We are real people that make real life mistakes. But hey, we wanted to make sure that you know that there is a place where you can go to find your own tribe. If you don't have a church, if you don't have a Holy Spirit place, we have built this entire network. My team has spent a year and a half adding churches that are on fire, working in signs, miracles, and wonders, and we've listed it all on our site. Please check our Find the Tribe site so you can find a church near you. And hey, if you don't find one near you, keep checking because it will come to pass. Also, check out our master classes for investment opportunities, how to build out a great portfolio. We have helped hundreds of people gain much profit and capital in the cryptocurrency market. Also, check out the Kingdom Billionaire book that I wrote with real estate developer Larry Wood. It has blessed so many people so that you can know some prophetic revelation about what's to come in the future, what stocks and assets to buy, and how the Lord wants his church to be built moving forward. It is such a revelation of knowledge that blessed me because I co-authored it with Larry, who also taught me a lot of things, and hopefully vice versa, I taught him. So check out the link here or in the description below. Now back to the show.
So hopefully for the meantime, we still have paper currency to use. We will be using, and they will implement the Ripple RLUSD. It is now an approved stablecoin. They will use the blockchain XRP. There's even chatter that XRP as well as HBAR and maybe even XLM could be part of strategic reserves
Wow.
where the United States will own blocks, maybe a billion or more chunks of those, knowing their vital nature to the infrastructure of the financial system as we go tokenization. And if for people that are not aware of tokenization, think of the barcode when you buy something at the grocery store and they scan the barcode. It's like a QSIP code for each item. Tokenization is basically given a QSIP code to every bond, every stock, every real estate transaction, put on a blockchain, which is no more than like a chain link of timestamp of ownership, buy
That's
and
good, Terry.
sell,
That's
that
good.
is there forever. And so it's real simple to know that they just want to document digitally. Problem is there's no free, not freedom, but privacy in that. But there is a good form of security because now hey, I bought this, you can't steal it, it's on the blockchain. But they're doing it. And when you think of the quadrillion, that's 999 trillion in assets globally that could go into the tokenization.
Like
Oh
real
my
estate,
gosh.
like all the
Oh,
things, like all the
real estate's like
things.
16 trillion alone in the United States. And here's where this gets really exciting. Real estate, once we go full tokenized, which we're doing it, it's not a matter of if, it's just once the regulations pass, we're doing it. Then they're going to fractionalize ownership. So you can actually own a fractional piece of the Empire State Building,
Crazy.
a hotel, or some other piece of real estate because it's going to have value there. And that's why these cryptos like XRP, XLM, HBAR are going to be so valuable, and others that will be part of tokenization. But as all this develops, why we're, like you said, and I love the way you put that, IRAs, annuities are just clobbering you. And I know people in annuities, you're getting paid a certain percentage. It's well below real inflation. You're losing money every year. And they say, well, if I get out, I have a penalty. If you took a hit on the annuity for a penalty, it's probably like equivalent to a $2 move in silver. You made all that back
Right.
and then you're
Like who
ahead.
cares? Yeah.
Like, who cares? It's so irrelevant because you will gain so much more value in the growth of silver than you will with that annuity 6 or 7% they're paying you. So the IRA and annuities, it's definitely not too late. We're just getting started on what's happening, especially in gold. As gold goes towards 5,000, silver once it breaks 50, will go towards 100 pretty quick because there's no sellers at that point.
Hmm.
But it will dramatically outperform the system. But we're out of the paper world. So if for some reason the global elites want to try to orchestrate a major collapse, which could happen in the bond market, China's economy is not doing very well. That's why they're getting their people. They know their currency's in trouble too. So like, yeah, put the currency in the bank. We'll give you gold. And they're going on the market, taking all the gold they can. They're playing chess against the tariffs that are coming. So when you put tariffs together, along with the high rising yields and the bond market chaos, and then Trump's initiative to put pressure on lowering the dollar, having a weaker dollar, and then trying to lower rates, that is a perfect storm for gold and silver values to rise. But here's the good news to it. In the old days, silver and gold rising showed that the banking system was collapsing. It was not doing well. And so it was a negative. So that's why they manipulated the price to keep it from rising, because it should be a lot higher just by M2 money supply alone.
Yeah.
Now, going forward, as gold becomes fractionalized as the asset to back up stable coins, it becomes a net benefit for gold to be $20,000 an ounce. And that's another thing about stable coins many are not aware. Stable coins, central bank digital currencies, can be just printed up out of thin air, just like a token. Stable coins have to be backed up by an asset,
That's
a
good.
commodity. And Trump initially said he wants to do it with currency. They're even discussing a gold-backed US bond to
Wow.
back it up. Now, when they fractionalize gold, so you take 1 ounce of gold and they'll cut it up in who knows how many pieces, let's say 1,000 pieces per unit, and it backs up the stable coins. Now it becomes a benefit for gold to go to extraordinary levels
See,
because it's giving value to the stable coin.
they're already doing that with Pax Gold. I don't know if you
Yes.
know anything about Pax Gold, but they're already fractionalizing it. And, they have batted around the idea of backing Pax Gold to what you're just saying. So, and the fact that you just said something, it tied everything together. China knows the tariffs are coming. They
Yeah.
know it. So
Yeah.
they're buying the gold.
Well, we're 100. Biden, he was epic at destroying this country. It had to be on purpose because otherwise you couldn't be that dumb.
Stupid and be president.
He left
Yeah.
office with China at $1 trillion trade deficit, the highest we've had. $1 trillion. So they know Trump's not going to allow that. That thing's coming down. It better come down to 500 to 400 billion, if not any trade deficit. So tariffs are definitely coming. They're aware and they're playing chess, but they're also preparing their people. Get rid of the currency notes that are getting ready to go to zip when they burn up. Get into commodities, tangible assets, and others. Now, rare earths and rhodium and other things could be good, but for the average, we the people, silver by far, because it is the most essential commodity next to crude oil, especially with AI, electric vehicles, and everything that's coming in the future.
Well, yeah, because silver is used in all of those things. I mean, you've
All
got
of
like
it.
we've talked about this before. The Saudi prince, and he's not the only one. Although I have my eye on
Mhm.
that Saudi prince guy. I know he's creating this massive smart city called Neom, which is going to
Yes.
be full of metric tons of silver. And
Oh,
because he knows that, he's trying to put his little hands in mining silver over there in Saudi Arabia versus mining
mm.
oil, which they are doing. But now he's trying to get into that the metal industry, the mining industry, because he's
So
trying
Lauren,
to
I
build
never
this.
even thought about that Neo being. I forgot. I knew he was doing that, but I didn't even think about the mega tons of silver he's going to
It's
need.
going to be massive. And
So
the
he
funny thing
needs to
is,
get a
Terry,
hold of these mines around the world. He'll
yes,
probably try to go after Mexican mines if he can.
yes, he's going
Huh.
to. And this thing is so big, Terry. It's going through the Sinai desert area. So
Mhm.
this is going to be massive. So
Yeah,
you
I saw the diagrams on it. I thought, wow, that is going to be, and they're doing it too. Many thought it
yeah,
was a joke, but they're
no,
doing it.
he's doing it.
And you're right. Every single component in there is going to need silver.
A conductor of silver.
Conductors, and you could use gold, but gold's $3,000 an ounce almost right now.
He's going
So
to go for silver.
yeah, he will have to go for silver and then go after rare earths, which is interesting. That relationship with China. China controls what 94% or so of rare earth minerals in the world.
Yeah.
And those rare earth minerals are what controls all of the components of a lot of these technologies, especially into AI. So there's a
And I
big
remember what
battle.
you said the last episode that we had. If you guys did not go watch it, Terry, you were saying we just don't have enough silver because it's been used in
Yeah.
explosives and bombs and whatever. It just gets consumed. So you
Yes.
put all that on top of the smart cities, China acquiring because of the tariffs. You just keep adding N plus and plus and plus, and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh my gosh, when this thing goes off." It's going to go off. It's going to be so priceless, in my opinion, because you have to use it to be able to get into the AI and the mark of the beast and how they want to
Robotics.
run this whole world.
Yeah, look at the robotics. I mean, that's coming. I mean, between robotics, AI, all the technology that's going in, all of that needs silver. I mean, there's what, 30 kilograms of silver per electric vehicle. I mean, it's pretty serious. And there, unfortunately, a lot of it doesn't get recycled. So when you look at recycling to mining, so what we're doing with recycling and mining of silver, because silver is not very rare, it's a silver vein in the earth. Silver is predominantly a byproduct of gold and other metals. It doesn't just normally run straight silver. Now, Mexico does, Nevada a little bit, Russia and some others have some silver veins, but it's rare. It's very rare. That is huge because all of it is needed for all these technologies and nothing replaces it.
Nothing, not crude oil,
No,
not anything.
nothing. No.
Well, I would ask because I can feel it in my spirit. People are ask him, screaming this. Okay, so what's the solution here? I've got this fat 401k. Do I roll it over into silver? And then once I get into silver, how do I use it? Do I buy property with it once it explodes? So I just hold on to it. And then what should we do with the crypto part? Like, what as a financial advisor, like, what is your roadmap? You know, Because
I
I'm
think
not
you've
one.
got
I
to.
can't give them financial
Well,
advice. I
but you
really
you you have a pretty good focus on it. Silver, as silver runs, what we'll do is once we go over 50 and we get near like maybe 60, $75, then what you do is you start selling off chunks like 25% and then 25%. You can reallocate at that time if you can into real estate, even in an IRA.
can't.
Self-directed IRA, you can go into real estate if you had to. Crypto, on the other hand, and or way I look at it, once we go through all of this and the market system is back up and running for what capacity it will, sell off the silver at the profit, because silver will absolutely outperform the S&P over the next 18 months. So what you do is you take your profits from that after the market had cleansed itself, go in and buy on a dip. Number one, a lot of investments that were oversold. There's a reason Warren Buffett is sitting in more cash than he's ever sat, like
Right.
2008.
Right.
Right? He knows it's coming, and he's going to buy all these stocks at pennies on the dollar. So what we do is we sell our silver off at a profit, get back into the market on pennies on a dollar dip. And then even more importantly, because I know BlackRock and there's one or two other hedge funds going for it, they're going to have an ETF, exchange traded fund, for people in the stock market for XRP.
Oh, wow.
And Lauren and I know this about XRP. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, XRP is $1,000.
Yeah.
You have 10,000 XRP tokens, and you save that for retirement, you're looking at, $10 million in the future. And it's just going to be because of its already foundation. And all these XRP, HBAR, XLM, they're already ISO 222. So they're globally compliant and they're ready. And so it's very interesting that it's just now coming in because regulations around the world are passing. It's time for us to pass. If we don't, the rest of the world will take over. And I can tell you this, for those in the crypto world, it's coming, because if we do not become crypto capital of the world, if we are not first, if we do not do the AI data centers to really ramp up this whole idea, the world will. And with the amount of debt that the American population and government have created, we are absolutely bankrupt.
Yes. So
I mean,
broke.
we are broke. And
Yeah.
if we do it, the government gets in, and these tokens at $3 and 30, 40 cents, and they go up to hundreds of dollars. And even though the company's worth $100 trillion, and people think, oh, that's crazy, it can't. I'm like, yes, it can, because of tokenization and fractionalization. Then that wealth, we can pay off our debt
I know.
with that wealth, you see? And so there's a fascinating strategy, but who's kidding who? The powers to be and the power elite and the East and China, they're not going to allow it to happen that easy. So saying all that, we have to be the crypto capital of the world. So for those that have the free cash, if you're not, I don't know why, especially if they're
Yeah.
watching you should be having that XRP, XLM. Now, there's meme coins. I get it. Meme coins are fun. They're collectibles. It's like collecting a stamp. It's speculation, and you can make money at them. I know people who have turned Dogecoin into $100,000. Blows my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
But those are fun. But for long-term
Yeah.
wealth in crypto, you want XRP, HBAR, because HBAR will be part of smart contracts and all of the tokenization. And XLM is peer-to-peer. So XLM is being developed for person-to-person, like Apple Pay kind of
Yep.
blockchaining.
You got it.
XRP is institutional, banks, finances, central banks,
Yep. And you can
banks.
draw dividends off of those bank and institutional
Yes.
EFT. So there's your dividends with XRP, and then your
Yes.
XM everyday stuff.
Yes. And then HBAR is smart contract. They're like HBAR is phenomenal. I mean, the use case going on HBAR and all the projects signing on, I'm amazed the token's not going up. People are just not aware, but there are dozens and dozens of projects signing into HBAR onto that blockchain. So there's a lot coming for HBAR's way. It's going to be
Yeah.
pretty explosive, right
Let's
down to
see
like a
where it's-
gym membership, if you really
Let's
think
see
about
where
it.
it's at, HBAR right now, because
It's only like
been
30
doing-
cents or something. It's silly. It's silly reasonable, to be honest.
Yes, it's like at 32 cents.
Yeah.
Okay, but
But I
listen
can
to
see
this
that. I
though.
can see HBAR in the short term easily get anywhere between $2 to $5.
Listen, in April, guys, in April 2020, this is how much return you can make in cryptocurrencies, guys. This is what we're talking about. H bar alone, just four short years ago, was 1 cent.
Yeah.
We're now at 32 cents. The highest so far was 46 cents, but this thing is just going. It's just going.
Going, going.
I mean, that's just one. That's just H bar.
Yeah.
Not to
Yeah,
talk
and
about
then there's
XRP that
then
was
there's a lot
50
of
cents.
others like potentially XCN
Yeah.
or
Oh, that one.
ACH. ACH could be powerful because of when you look at how the financial institutions will use it. And I know I think you had mentioned Flare, and I'm not a whole knowledgeable on Flare completely, but I'm definitely into Flare just because I think in the spirit there's something saying that that might be something in the future there. So get it
Yeah.
while it's cheap, right? So
While all of these are so cheap, because remember,
yeah.
there was a time that XRP was 30 cents for like 4 years, and now we're sitting at $3 and about to explode again.
Yep.
And everything he has said for the past 45 minutes, guys, on XRP, your mind should be going, the sky's the limit for that asset.
Oh, for
Here's
sure.
what
I
I'm
mean,
thinking.
I'm looking at XRP. No joke. XRP is 500 to 1,000 in 5 to 10 years, probably 10 years.
I agree.
But you got 10,000 tokens in 10 years. You look at that. That's $10 million.
I agree.
So that you
No
mean
brainer.
that's a
Like you
no
were saying,
brainer.
it'll bypass Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin's
Yeah.
going to be around much longer. I like it to hedge
No.
for now, but it's a dying granddaddy. It's too slow.
Yeah.
It's too expensive, and something will
That's
replace it. I think it's XRP.
That's exactly right. Even the Ethereum network is wonderful, but it has its issues. It's just not, it doesn't have the technology that you have. And this is what it's all about, folks, is the technology,
Yeah.
the actual blockchain technology of XRP, XLM, HBAR, and such, and what they're going to do to timestamp and tokenize every stock, every bond, every real estate. When you go globally, you're talking $1 quadrillion. Now, that's going to be a $1 quadrillion of wealth kind of created out of thin air. And if Trump pulls it off, which I believe he is, we can literally in the United States make hundreds of trillions in wealth, pay off our debt, absolutely boom our nation to manufacturing. Everyone from a waiter, waitress on up can absolutely create wealth. Why so important to get involved? Even like XCN, it was like a fraction of a penny,
Yeah.
and now it's almost 4 cents, and it's probably going towards 20 cents or 18 cents this cycle. So these are powerful moves for cash. And then in the retirement system and for excessive cash, absolutely would be having physical assets like gold and silver outside the system, because that is the ultimate protection. Just think of North Carolina. Think of these disasters. The digital system went down. They were
Yeah.
using ham radios and silver coins to barter.
Oh, wow.
So that's a big, to me, I may be a little bit, I'm not paranoid at all. I think I just see it. And I love, folks like you and others in the realm that see, like you're in the spiritual side seeing, and I'm getting deeper in myself. I've been listening to a lot to Dr. Miles Monroe. He's an old classic guy, but he is so precious on encouragement and how to get your mind straight. And this morning we were talking about, Psalms. It was all about the different Psalms, like start your day with the Psalms and get it into your heart and let it encourage you. So when the trials and tribulations of the day come, you already have the armor of God on you. You're prepared and you're not as stressed out. You're not as emotional. We don't worry because we have the gift of the Holy Spirit to guide us, to lift us up, give us
Yes.
wisdom and understanding of things to come. That's why I just love people in your realm, and I adore you for the stuff that you've been doing, because your heart and your passion has just been so strong on it. It's so important that people in the kingdom stay focused. And right now they sure, and they have been for years. I shouldn't be laughing. It's like you just want to smack them.
Yeah, no, but you know why? It's because we don't want to see anybody suffer. I mean, I hate seeing anybody suffer when they don't have to, especially
Yes.
here in America. In America, poverty is a choice. Now, we could talk and debate about other nations who don't have the opportunities we have, the caste system in India. Those are totally different situations. But in our country, there's no reason you should be in poverty. And like you said, like I think it tugs on our heartstrings, and that's why we get so frustrated.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, when when we have the wisdom and we're close to him and we can hear him and he can help us make these decisions, we don't have to suffer. And then on top of that, it's not personal, it's for our survival, but it's bringing in that harvest before his return, which is what
Mm,
he cares about. That you are his investment, guys. You are his investment.
yeah.
And he wants a return on his investment, which is you. He paid a lot to get you. And we need those resources to bring those people in, Terry. I know that you agree because that's
Oh, and
your.
you're even if you don't have a lot of money, I think
Mhm.
so many people get so down on themselves. "Oh, I
Yeah,
don't have anything, so I can't do anything."
that's the
Well,
number
if
one
you
thing I
would have,
hear.
yeah, if you would have taken just $50 and bought XCN at pennies on the dollar or something, and you stay in the loop with someone like you, Lauren, and that's kind of feeding people up and comers, you can turn it slowly 50 to 500, 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 3,000, 3,000 to 10,000, and it can grow.
Mhm.
So you have to stay positive. You have to stay in wisdom. Listen, God, I give, and that's not prosperity preaching, but that Bible is loaded
Yeah,
with God saying, I will prosper you, keep
yeah,
you safe. He wants us to prosper because we can use the resources responsibly for the kingdom's needs, for ministries, to help feed people, to help bring people into salvation. He knows if he can trust your heart, he can trust you with the wealth that he will bring to you.
that's exactly right. And to put a button and a pretty bow on all of this, um, this is what I would say as we kind of land this plane here. If I had to start all over, Terry, and you and I may have different ways we would go about this, but if I had to start all over, because I gave this advice to my mother, who's a baby boomer. I said, Mama, why don't you take your 401k? You spent 65 years beefing up however much you have, and you're a little nervous because she was wanting to get into the cryptocurrencies, was kind of so frustrated to tears about the
Yeah.
cryptocurrency blockchain. I get it. The baby boomers are having a hard time. But
Mhm.
I told my mom, I said, Mom, the easiest thing for you to do is to roll this over into um, backed silver retirement. And so we went through the process. She got your number and all the things, and your team were great with my mother. I told my mom to put a little stash in the safe. Take a little bit out.
Mm.
Who cares about the taxes, Mom? Who cares about the taxes? Because, like you said earlier, it doesn't matter when the silver starts rising $1, $2, $3. I mean, you're getting all that money back anyway if that's the penalty, right?
Right.
Stash it in the safe. Any extra cheddar or cash or what you have in a savings account, I would start buying the cryptos. Would you agree? I
Yeah.
mean,
I think
and
that's wonderful. Yes.
that was another thing I told my mom because she was getting nervous about now. What do I do with this 401k and silver? And I was like, Mom, they buy it
Just buy
back.
it back.
Just
Yeah.
you can call them up, Terry Sacka and team, and be like, "Hey, I want to sell 5,000 in silver." They'll cut you a check and they'll take their own silver back. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, because we're right in the refining and minting and storage of it all. So it's all circulating through. And being that the demand for silver globally for all these technologies that are coming, it's always going to be in demand. So, the supply globally is not what people think. I mean, if really it stepped up, there's probably, I asked them at the refinery what I could do if I had $1 billion ministry come in. They go, you could probably get your hands on 400 million ounces, and that's it. That's worldwide. So we really don't have, and the reason the price has been so low is because corporate entities want to keep it because it's a resource for their product, like electric vehicle. But in the end, when everybody wants it and there's only so much of it, what has to happen? The
Yeah.
price has to rise in order to get it out of the hands of people holding it. I think a lot of people will be selling at 50, which I wouldn't go near, but I get it. We've had people buy at 14 and they'll be like, woohoo, a few $100s. But I love the idea of going into the crypto. I do. I think the retirement accounts, absolutely. And the only reason why is we're on the edge of a collapse. There's a lot of stuff in the bond market and this whole entire epic credit cycle bubble we're in.
Yeah.
Best to get out of the way. And then you're still going to outperform anyway by being in silver. And then once we see the lay of the land, we start selling off our silver, reallocating back into a market system, pennies on the dollar on certain investments. And if they have it at that point, I'd be jumping that XRP ETF and maybe HBAR ETF if they develop it, which I think they might.
That's good. Well, thank you so much, Terry. And if if someone is on here, and I'm going to put Terry's information like I always do in the description, guys. I'm going to put his YouTube. I'm going to put Cornerstone Asset Metals in there. Anybody that answers the phone can help you. But just real quick, for someone who has that question, where do I start with rolling over my 401k into this silver situation? Is it really easy? Just give your office a call. You guys take care of it. What would you
Yeah,
say?
you can. And you can also, if you end up going to my podcast rigged in YouTube, where I will give detailed financial information for those that want to dig deep, there is a wealth guide. So you can get a digital wealth guide. All you do is sign up for that, and then you will get a 20-page wealth guide dropped into your box. It's a beautiful wealth guide. And then you start getting into a loop of emails and information and videos and updates of what's going on. And then you're in the system of information. And then if you register, then you can contact the office directly. But I'd say get the e-guide only because it's great information. And then you're in the loop of information, but then get a conversation started. And one thing we do differently, because we're kind of a ministry slash business,
Yeah.
because we just care so much. I mean, God made it clear to me, get my people ready. And believe me, I tried quitting a few times. And again, I get hammered in the back of my head, like, pow, you get back out there and keep speaking. I'm like, they're not listening. He goes, do it anyway. I'm like, all right, I'm not saying no to God. You know how that goes. But we actually go the extra mile to help people walk through the paperwork process, get it all done and transferred, only because it can be confusing, but we take all of that away. The team, they're amazing, amazing people. They'll probably pray with you. I mean, they're just like, we can't help ourselves. I mean, we definitely like to show a lot of love and compassion, because in these confusing times, it breeds fear. And it's just vital to keep in mind that I did not give you a spirit of fear, but power, which is dunamis power, supernatural miracle power, raised Christ from the dead type power, love, and a sound mind. And that, if we trust in him with all of our heart, lean not on our understanding during this confusing time, just acknowledge him and he will make your crooked path straight. He will guide you. And to me, that eliminates fear. We're here to help eliminate that confusing process, knowing silver and gold is the truest, only real money. Everything else is credit. And during this cycle, especially this epic credit bubble, I would be careful having too much credit.
Thank you, Terry. I do agree. You are definitely, this is a ministry. You have been, this is ministry, period, just in the financial realm. You're a financial apostle. That's what you are.
Aw, thank you. That's so sweet.
I thank you so much. I could talk to you for hours. We'll do another interview because he's full of knowledge, guys, on different topics. We love talking about the return of the Lord. We love talking about what's ahead financially because of the return of the Lord. So we have a lot to talk about. So we'll do that another time. But I will honor you, Terry, and thank you so much. And I will see you soon next time.
Oh, hey, congratulations on the book, by the way, too. I think you're on the right track. Yes, get Kingdom Billionaires. That's absolutely right. For each and every one of us, let's drive towards that and use our wealth to help others. We can't go wrong.
That's it. All right.
God bless you, Lauren.
Love to you and the family.
Thank you. You too. Say hello to the family. Bye.